Disclaimer. The comments made in this video are intended solely for entertainment purposes and are not intended to harm or offend anyone.
From a combative defendant openly defying the judge and escalating her sentence.
You want to plead not?
I have a pipe, miss. Can you do yesterday's? Where they picked me up? If not, fuck you and I'll see you tomorrow.
To a tenant passionately blaming the landlord for unpaid rent while avoiding personal accountability.
Because, Your Honor, what they do is they wait until they're full. Then they will try to remedy things. In the meantime, they'll collect their $2,400 a month rent.
These cases reveal the lengths some will go to dodge responsibility, starting with Ms. Savannah, who is facing charges of drug paraphernalia, possession, and theft. Her blatant disrespect for the court will leave you questioning just how audacious some offenders can be.
Hello, are you Savannah Diaz-Rodriguez?
Yeah.
My name is Sonny Ratliff. We need to talk because you've been in jail a couple of times on some of these charges, and so we need to
paid off my debt, and they picked me up last night for no fucking reason. When I was
hey, I want you to know hey, listen, Savannah.
What?
Listen, we've got to resolve these charges, and
I already paid for all of those.
I want you to listen to me.
I already paid for all of those.
Savannah, I'm not yelling at you. You don't
okay.
yell at me.
And I was talking, and you're not listening.
I'm listening. I need you to listen to me.
And I already paid for all of those, and they picked me up yesterday when I was on the way home. When I got everything washed, everything brand new, everything.
Okay, so let's go through all the charges that you've pled not guilty to and bonded out with a promise to...
Okay, that means they're over. That means they're over, and I went and got them sealed. So why the fuck are you talking about them?
Okay, don't use language.
So why are you talking about them?
Talk about bad character and complete disrespect. The fact that this woman is in cuffs yet still believes she can argue her way out of this as if it's a customer service dispute is astonishing.
Okay, so from October 23rd, a drug paraphernalia possession of a pipe. You have the right to plead not guilty because you have the right to hire an attorney or have a trial. You have a right to remain silent. Do you want to plead not guilty for those reasons, or do you want to plead guilty or no contest and be time served?
Guilty and no contest and time served.
Okay, on your guilty plea, finding court costs is...
I would like one of those PR 30s or 30 fucking...
She seems unaware of the damage she's doing to her own case, but who needs a lawyer when you can represent yourself with sheer chaos?
So you don't bond out when you plead guilty. So to theft from October 23rd over a 2020...
Yeah, but you said time served.
Well, but you have to enter a plea of either guilty or no contest to be time served. So how do you plead to theft from October 23rd?
Just do what you want, miss. I really don't want to...
I don't listen. As a judge, I don't do what I want. As a judge, I follow the law.
By this point, the judge displays more patience than a kindergarten teacher, staying calm in the face of her just do what you want antics.
Which sometimes it might be what I want, and sometimes it's not what I want. The law says you have the right to hire an attorney or have a trial. You have a right to plead not guilty and come and see me pursuant to a bond. If you choose to plead not guilty, that's fine, but you've got to appear pursuant to your bond. But if you plead guilty or no contest to this theft, your time served. Not guilty, guilty, or no contest to theft. How do you plead? So we're going to move forward to October 27th, drug paraphernalia possession of a pipe. Fine range is $100 to $500. Do you want to plead not?
I have a pipe, miss. Can you do yesterday's? Where they picked me up? If not, fuck you and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm going to find you in contempt of court and sentence you to 3 days in jail. I'll see you after you've sat out your contempt order because you continue to use language.
Bye.
Okay, goodbye.
Now, that's exactly what I expected, but she probably needs more days in jail to learn her lesson. All it takes is a simple plea of guilty, not guilty, or no contest to move forward. Yet, thanks to her attitude, she's earned herself a 3-day timeout. What's wild is that she doesn't even seem fazed by it. While Ms. Savannah showcased her irrational attitude in court, Mr. Sherry, on the other hand, is facing charges for violating his probation terms through threatening and intimidating behavior.
Mr. Sherry is in violation of the terms of his probation in this case. In that there was use of assaultive, threatening, intimidating behavior. That behavior happened on August 16th of 2024. There was a police report that was provided to my office and also an audio that was part of that incident. I can tell the court that there were no charges that were authorized as a result of that incident. However, the audio was shared with this court, threatening and intimidating in nature. This court at that time did issue a bench warrant with the bond set at $50,000 cash or surety. The warrant has been out. Mr. Sherry did continue to report to probation. I did have a conversation with him at length about his behavior during that audio, and he did surrender himself to the jail on November 11th. Given all it, also, Your Honor, I did receive some documentation from Mr. Ellman with some backstory as to the relationship between individuals regarding that other incident. However, at the end of the day, Mr. Sherry is responsible for his own behaviors. That was a conversation that I had with him. Probation is asking at this time that Mr. Sherry be sentenced to 5 days in jail, credit for 3 days that he has served for violations to date.
Now, that feels like giving him a free pass. Just 5 days in jail for an offense as serious as making threats while already on probation.
That the court extend the prosecutor deferred for a period of 9 months, that he pay an additional $270 probation oversight fees, that he complete the anger habits program, which is a more extensive anger management program. I would ask that he enroll within that program within 30 days, that he continue all other terms that was ordered by this court, that the court schedule a review hearing for August 13th of 2025 at 9 a.m. and that the court provide a warning about any further violations of his probation in this case.
Mr. Allen. Your Honor, I was actually going to ask if we could approach to discuss all this, if that's possible.
Why?
I just like talking to you, Judge. But Your Honor, I appreciate probation's recommendation. I guess this is a little bit why I wanted to approach the paperwork that I provided. Ms. Polera provides a long history between Mr. Sherry and the individual who this language was directed towards. They have a child in common. This was a custody exchange. I know the court heard the audio.
Oh, I did.
I do not make any excuses for the audio. However, to my belief, there were things said prior to when the recording started that, to be frank, pushed Mr. Sherry's buttons in regards to his ability to parent his child and threats to essentially abscond with his child, which do not forgive his language, Your Honor, but I'm just trying to provide some picture as to the whole story here. There is a long and frustrating history there that I think unfortunately pushed Mr. Sherry to this point where he used that language. In terms of the jail recommendation, Your Honor, Mr. Sherry's been in custody for 3 days. He is a sole provider to his family. He has a 14-month-old child at home. And frankly, Your Honor, I think the community would be better served if instead of 2 additional days in custody, Mr. Sherry were to be ordered to do community service or something of the like, as opposed to more time in custody. I think through these 3 days that he served, he has realized, which he knew before, but has much more realized the severity of his language, his actions, and the effect that can have on himself, his family, and those around him.
Sir, anything you want to say?
Yes, Your Honor. Marissa, I apologize to you. I'm glad I got to call and at least kind of explain. I know that doesn't justify anything, and the situation isn't black and white. That doesn't justify any of the words that I use or the things that I said. 100%. I messed up. I can take full responsibility for that. That was a terrible thing. I've made it 41 years of my life without having any mistakes like this, but I've got an 11-year-old with a ex that has constantly been threatening me for years, and I've done a really good job of just brushing it off and not saying anything back, and I had a mental moment and I lost it. And again, does not justify anything that I said. It was terrible. And I'm in therapy trying to work on myself, and get better for my family and for these situations. I mean, I still have to parent, that my work still goes forward as far as being a parent. With that said, I do, I've got a 14-month-old at home, and my wife is, already pointed at me. I'm losing time with my kids. I'm not I'm not a bad person. I know that I've got work to do, and I've been in therapy for the last 6 months getting help, and I'm trying to get to the root of some of the issues. I'm not an angry person, but I've got some anger built up. I've got my dad taught me lessons in different ways. He died when I was young, but he was an alcoholic. He used to put cigarettes out on me when he was trying to teach me lessons. I still have at least 6 burn marks on my body, but those are things that I've been bottling down and pushing aside and for years, until I've been talking to this therapist, and she's just saying, like, you got to get things out, but it's been difficult for me. So I'm not an angry person.
Now he's indirectly trying to justify his threats, claiming he was just in a tight spot. Well, that's absolute nonsense. The court isn't a therapy session, and this man needs to be held accountable instead of shifting blame. If only he put as much effort into controlling his temper as he does into making excuses, this case wouldn't even exist. It's disappointing to see grown adults blaming others for their actions.
I hit my boiling point, and that's not okay. But my goal is really to get better so that never happens again. And again, I've made it 41 years without doing anything like that. And I would also ask if I could go home to my family. I'll do community service for as long as you want. I'll do probation as long as you want. I guarantee you, and I'm sure you hear this a lot from people, but I will never be back here, and I'll never make that mistake again. I don't have priors. I'm not a flight risk. I turned myself in. I'm trying to do the right things. I know I messed up. I'm an idiot. I can own up to that. The last 3 days here has been the hardest 3 days of my life. I'll take 6 more cigarette burns on my body than stay in that holding cell. Like, I'm not lying when I say, like, I've learned my lesson. I mean, I knew the day that I walked away from that and where I lost my cool, I knew that I messed up then. And I've had anxiety, and I'm an overthinker. I try to reevaluate the situations I do and how to fix it. And I'm not BSing you. I've started 2 companies since, having a father that passed away and no role models. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I made them the hard way. And again,
Good job. Tell you what. You're kind of a little bit of an enigma, because the person I'm hearing now and the person I saw in that video and the person I saw before, it's all just different. That was not a good person on that video.
no,
Just not at all.
wow.
So I will just tell you this. Maybe one of the things that can help you in terms of trying to deal with that is take a breath. And whenever you're responding, it doesn't matter to whom, but whenever you're responding, respond in a way as though you believe that your kids are watching.
I'm failing them. I'm honestly, like, even I've got my daughter has special needs, and it's so emotional.
And that's where you've got to be strong and not have that emotion.
You're right.
I know I'm right.
You are. I'm not denying it. It's my fault.
I'll extend the defendant's prosecutor deferred status for a period of 9 months. You're to pay an additional $270 probation oversight fees. When can you get that done?
As soon as you let me out. I'll pay it right now if you'll seriously just let me.
Sir, stop talking.
Sorry.
Pay it by November 22nd, 2024. You're to complete the anger habits program. You're to enroll in that program within 30 days. I will continue all other previous terms as ordered. I'll set a review hearing August 13th, 2025, 9 a.m. I'm not going to accept any other further violations. That was a horrible, disgusting thing I had to watch, and the things that you said and the things that you just spewed from your mouth. If I see anything remotely approaching that, you might as well just resign yourself to the fact that I'm just going to throw you in. I'm not even going to be dealing with you.
Yes, sir. It'll never happen.
So I will also say that I'm not letting you out because you begged. I'm letting you out because of what Mr. Ellman said to me. Because quite frankly, when you were getting here, I was surprised by the recommendation because I would give you more time. So you better thank those people for you getting to go home. But I'll go with what Mr. Ellman says. I'm not going to order any other additional community service. I'd rather work with his kids and his family and get that right. 3 days Washington County Jail, credit 3 days, sir.
Sure.
All right.
Can he call me out?
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
You too.
Unlike Mr. Sherry's case, let's dive into another example of a probation violation. Here, Ms. Marissa not only failed to report, but also violated no contact orders and made life-altering decisions that put her children at risk, all while attempting to manipulate the system.
Are you the same Marissa Janelle Bell who was placed on community supervision in 2022 CR 8626A for the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 gram to 4 grams on December 1st, 2022 for a period of 4 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
Violation of condition number 4 in Bear County, Texas. The defendant, Marissa Janelle Bell, the then and there failed to report the supervision officer as directed for the month of June 2024 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true? Did you understand by pleading true to violations 4 and 6, the court could find it true, grant the motion, and sentence you to 4 years in the prison? Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation 4 and 16? I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. You understand that if,
Well, I'm sorry,
yes,
just for the courts, if the court hasn't noticed, she is 7 months pregnant, so that's kind of why she's here,
I'm here.
but just tired of this.
oh, well, I noticed, yeah, I noticed she's in yellow. All right. So you do understand if you have some sort of proposed agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow that agreement. Do you understand?
Me?
Yes. Do you understand I can revoke you and send you to prison for 4 years?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Do you understand that the fact that you're currently pregnant plays no role in that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So is there a proposed agreement?
No, Your Honor.
All right, state, what are you requesting?
It's requesting revocation.
Defense, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, we're asking the court to we're asking the court to continue her on her probation. She does have some new cases that she was charged with in Comal County. However, she is on PR bond for those because they were not indicted in the proper amount of time. And also, without getting into the facts of those, but she was in the car with someone else. And it's my understanding in my conversations with her that they're making verification of that and that they may or may not be proceeding with that, judge. But I do not want to represent to the court that I anticipate them being dismissed because I simply cannot say that at this time. Would that be accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But but we are asking the court to take, given that she did so well on the first year of this probation, if the court looks at her MTR, she didn't have any failed tests. She did successfully complete her her intensive outpatient treatment. She has that certificate. We verified that with probation. She's also expressed a willingness to me that she would like to possibly get some additional treatment. But given her condition, it's my understanding that at this time, she wouldn't be accepted into safety or one of those at this time. And so what we're asking the court at this time to do is to continue her and to possibly follow up with her sometime around February to see where they stand with the cases in Comal. She did plead true to not reporting in June, which is true. She did not report in June. But again, she kind of fell off the wagon and also made contact with the gentleman that she was ordered not to make contact with. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Talk about irresponsibility. She put a toxic relationship above her children, violated court orders, and now expects sympathy because she's pregnant? Actions have consequences, and she won't get out of this easily. She was given a second chance and chose to throw it away for a loser.
And that kind of failed, but that also seems to have resulted in a pregnancy. Is that correct? So we're leaving ourselves to the mercy of the court, but she is a motivated probationer. She did fall off the wagon. Where she's been since May is in the Comal County Jail. There was a warrant put out by this court. They brought her over here. And so we're asking the court to give consideration to continuing her on her probation. In the absence of that, we would ask the court to consider adjudicating her and continuing on her probation.
All right.
But we are leaving it to the court.
All right. Any objection to the court reviewing the court summary?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Do you want to raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You can lower your hand. So the court ordered that you have no contact with Jacob Ziegler. Why are you having contact with him?
He reached out to me.
I'm sorry, what?
He reached out to me and I shouldn't have, but I did, and I'm sorry.
No. There's no need to apologize. So he reached out to you and you knew you were looking at 4 years prison time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you did a weighing of you did a balancing test and you said, I can't have contact with Jacob Ziegler. And if I do, I'm looking at 4 years in prison, but he's worth it. And then according to the court summary, your brother-in-law is taking care, I guess your brother-in-law and his wife are taking care of 2 of your children. Is that correct?
My brother-in-law, no, it's my aunt.
Oh, okay. So your aunt is taking care of 2 of your children.
3, actually.
3?
Yes, ma'am.
So you have 3 children. You're not taking care of them.
But I have had them. I had them the whole time I was on probation.
But no, because it says here, on July 17th, the field team conducted a field visit and spoke to Miss Bell's brother-in-law, who stated they had not seen or heard from Miss Bell in over 2 months and had been trying to locate her with no success. Mrs. Bell's brother-in-law also stated that they had been caring for Mrs. Bell's 2 children since she left the home.
Hey, I'm confused on who my brother-in-law is.
Okay.
The name is there?
No, the name is not there. But suffice it to say, they've been looking for you for 2 months. So for 2 months, if your children were depending on you to provide them with food so they can live, they would have just starved to death.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. When I fell off, I called my aunt and I let her know. They've been taking care of their.
At this point, she might as well tattoo poor life choices on her forehead. What kind of mother abandons her children like that? I have full trust in Judge Boyd. She's not going to let her escape the consequences of the mess she created without a punishment that will make her think twice before making the same mistakes again.
You call your aunt and let her know, I'm going to go be with this Jacob person because he reached out to me.
No, I let her know that I messed up and that I did drugs and I was scared and that I didn't want to be around my children that way.
All right. So basically what that means is financially, you were not supporting your children. And if your children were dependent upon you to live, they would not have survived because you're not providing them support. You're just making all of these bad decisions and somebody else is paying for your bad decisions. They're supporting your children. Now you went off with this Jacob person that there was supposed to be no contact with. And the only thing that you've come back with is pregnant with his child. And for the court to say that you to have no contact with him, obviously he was not a good person to be in your life.
You're right.
All right. So the court is finding violations 4 and 6 true. The court is going to grant the motion, revoke you, and the court is going to sentence you to 4 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's to be no contact with Jacob Ziegler, and there's to be no unsupervised contact with minors.
Now, that's what being held accountable looks like. The best she can do now is serve her time and focus on becoming better for her kids.
Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes. That's the appeal for me.
All right. You have a limited right to appeal. That right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you were on community supervision. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. I'll recommend the therapeutic community for her. I have no jurisdiction to place you in the therapeutic community, but if you ask for it, they will place you in it. Oh, just ask at the prison and let them know. All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. Everybody wants little babies when they're born because they're so cute. So you had better reach out to your family because Child Protective Services is going to come knocking at the prison. So unless you have someone, yeah. All right, so you need to let your aunt know and counsel if you can get in contact with her aunt, because time when that baby is delivered, she needs to have somebody there that's been pre-approved by Child Protective Services to take the child. All right, good luck to you.
This case centers on a tenant who stubbornly refused to pay rent, offering countless excuses for why she hasn't paid for the house she's been renting for the past 3 years.
And my client had someone there on the 22nd of August and took care of.
Well, just so I'm clear, it's a new issue that was raised just now?
New to me.
Raised here, but it was raised previously and never taken care of.
Okay. They double checked for bats in the attic, no evidence. There was a report of mushrooms in the bathroom and they found one. Apparently, according to the maintenance company, it would take a while for this mushroom to develop, but bathroom moisture is, of course, a part of regular home maintenance. I don't know what the tribal issue is here.
My issue is that, and I filed a counterclaim against them. Since I moved in the beginning, which was 3 years ago, they've had a pattern of neglect of the home. The home is an 1800s historic home. Apparently was vacant for about 6 to 8 years before we moved in, which we didn't know. It was severely neglected. We didn't know. So when we moved in, there were rats, there were flies. We moved in 2022, either 2021 or 2022. I don't have the lease in front of me, but I repeatedly asked them to take care of all the code violations. We had no smoke alarms. We had no railings at the stairs. Many safety issues. They continue to blow me off like they do now. And the only time they ever got serious about fixing any of the issues was when I went to code enforcement. Code enforcement issued a violation statement and they had several things that they were supposed to fix. They fixed some of those things. Mr. Fink will say that I continue to rent after the fact. That is true.
She's got it.
That is true because there is a housing crisis. It's not easy for people to just move whenever they feel like it. You had my security deposit. I had taken time off of work. I'd rented a moving vehicle. I had lined up people to help me move. I'm a single parent. I don't have just helpers all the time. It's not that easy for people to just move. So I had already invested quite a bit of time off of work, quite a bit of financial investment into the home. And so when I was promised by Prime that things would be taken care of, I took them at their word. However, they didn't fix everything that they were supposed to fix. So the tree branch that's touching the roof that still has a hole in it, fast forward to today, is now an ongoing problem because now we have a bat infestation. They say that they have no indication of a bat infestation, but I have attached a photo of a bat that ironically, because they had the outside of the house painted, the bat has paint on it. The dead bat has paint on it. How can you say there's no evidence of a bat infestation when your painters painted the dead bat? So there's bats. There's now a fly infestation. I told them repeatedly that there was water in the home, in the bathroom. The fan in the bathroom was not working. The tenant downstairs actually moved out because of moisture.
That's not true.
That is true. I have it in writing from the tenant.
Sure.
Also, they tried to blame me for flies for not doing my laundry. When I have 4 people living in the home, we do laundry daily or else we wouldn't have anything to wear. So the laundry is constantly done. The flies were from a combination of rat and bat feces in the attic and moisture coming from an improperly working bathroom fan and just moisture from that bathroom. When we came last time to the hearing, there was already, because Your Honor, what they do is they wait until they're forced. And so when they feel forced, then they will try to remedy things. But if they don't feel forced, they will sit back and do nothing. In the meantime, they'll collect their $2,400 a month rent. So I withheld rent.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
when I'm looking through the complaint, your answer and counter complaint, you have an answer to a complaint, you lay out code violations. What I'm not clear about is we're talking about a period between, there's an allegation that they did not keep it in reasonable repair from March through June. I'm imagining that the June you're referring to is June 2022.
Correct.
And then also again between March 2024 to present.
Correct. And
Okay,
they are
so-
all stemming from the same.
Well, please. So from July of 2022 through February of 2024, it's in reasonable repair?
I wasn't having any problems because they were starting to fix things. The code enforcement gave them a time frame to fix things. When we started experiencing new problems was when they started painting the house, when they power washed the house. That's when a lot of things that were living in the wood started coming into my home. I guess that's how they say coming out of the woodwork. Like everything was coming out of the woodwork from the wood of the Victorian home into our house. And my daughter actually got bit and had to go to the hospital. In the meantime, I was telling Prime about all these problems and we weren't doing it.
So who got bit?
My daughter in her sleep, she got bit inside of her ear. Something crawled in her ear and bit her and she was bleeding in her ear, which I reported all these things to Prime. And instead of taking care of it, they exacerbated the problem. They allowed their contractors to continue to harass me and my kids. These contractors, I don't even know if they were licensed or whatever, but they were out of control and my neighbors were witnesses to this. There was a domestic dispute going on between the mom or the wife and the husband. And for some reason, the husband thought that we were on their side. It was crazy.
Who?
Midwest Concrete. They hired Midwest Concrete to paint the house. When Midwest Concrete came out to paint the house, that's when we started getting like bat activity in the roof. I don't know if it was disturbed by the power washing, but that's also when we got the ants and the bugs. I don't think they ever correctly fixed the roof or even trimmed the tree to make sure stuff wasn't going to be able to come inside. So it's stemming from that initial problem. And I began withholding rent.
And what?
I began withholding rent because I was paying $2,400 a month to live in something that was unbearable.
The real harassment here is her audacity. If the house was truly as unlivable as she describes, why didn't she move out after her last stay?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why hasn't September been paid?
Because at the last hearing, Mr. Fink asked me if I wanted to stay in the home, and I did at that time. But now I don't, because since then, they've shown me that they're still going to continue. It's never going to end.
All right. So the issue is you moving?
I would like to move because now we have mushrooms in our bathroom.
All right. So when do you want to move?
Well, it would take a little bit of time, probably by the end of next month. It's a big house and I have a lot of stuff. But also, I feel that they owe me back. They owe me some money as well.
But hold it, ma'am. Here's the thing. I've ordered escrow that hasn't been complied with.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you're about to get a trial on the issue of possession in the next 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't go your way at trial, we're talking 10 days from that date that you're going to get a writ. So, and then you're going to be out.
I know. They've put me in a really bad situation because they don't keep their word and I can't trust them anymore.
Ma'am, I get your position and I'm not trying to be... I understand what you're saying, but as this case came forth, you filed everything that you need to file with the court.
Mm-hmm.
Court ordered you to do certain things and you didn't do them. So now we're at a point where there's sort of this reality that's going to set in about you having possession of those premises. And what I'm indicating to you you're saying that you would need to the end of next month to move. I don't have my calendar, right? But today's what, the 12th? 10th. Okay. Today's the 10th. And if they get a trial by the 24th, which they would, then I'm looking at the beginning of October that you'd be facing eviction.
So I might have to get an attorney at this point because I've been trying to take care of it myself, and obviously it's.
Ma'am, what do you want to really do? I mean, do you want to litigate all of this stuff? I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm here every day.
In a way, because just because.
Well, listen to me for a minute, okay? How many kids do you have?
3.
All right. It would seem to me, and maybe I'm wrong, that the central and primary thing for you is to try to figure out how to get you and your kids situated, right?
It would seem that way, but at the same time, if someone's constantly taking advantage, I feel like, when does it stop?
Okay, if you want to fight, we'll have a fight.
So, Your Honor, is it right that they just collected the rent and didn't do what?
Ma'am, I'm not saying anything's right. I'm trying to explain to you what you're facing, but you're not listening to what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not saying that you can't have a fight about what might be damages. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying with what I've got in front of me right now, I'm looking at a circumstance where if you were not to prevail on this case, they prevail with the eviction, you're out at the beginning of October. Mm-hmm. And so then I just ask, and excuse me for being this way, but then I just asked a practical question because sometimes people don't think, what does that mean for you and your kids if all goes sideways?
Well, I plan on moving out, so I don't see that going sideways. I just don't think it's right that this company should take.
Okay, I hear you. So then there are 2 issues here. There's going to be one issue in terms of money. There's going to be one issue in terms of possession.
Okay. In terms of possession, tell me when I need to be out.
You don't want me to do that.
I mean, I thought we were working it out when we were here last time, but then they've allowed more things to go wrong. I've lost faith in anything that they say. I don't know what else.
Okay. All right. Let's say all of that's true. I don't know it to be true, but let's say all of that's true. You're trying to work this out. You got to get you and your family situated. Right. So why don't we do this for the moment? Why don't we focus on that piece of it? Okay. You don't want me, I mean, I will because I do it. You don't want me just ordering when you've got to be out. You told me that it's a big house. You've got 3 kids. You've got all of those things that kind of come along with that. So if I were today just say, well, it doesn't seem to me there's a tribal issue in this case as to the issue of possession, and you got to be out in 10 days. Could you do it?
I had to. I mean, is it only the possession?
Yeah. Let's do this. If I told you right now that you needed to post the $2,400 into escrow, could you do it?
And then I have no money to move with?
Didn't ask that. Ma'am, if I asked you right now to put the $2,400 in, could you do it? Yes or no?
It's not a could I, it's I don't know if I should. I'm
very closely to my question. If I told you right now, if I gave an order of this court that you're to put $2,400 into escrow right now, could you do it?
Then I would say no.
All right. It wasn't that hard. I have a point for asking that question. I'm not ordering it. Okay? I did not just drop into this seat yesterday. I hear these cases all the time. So here's what I see going on here. Okay? Yes, you've got problems with your lender. Yes, they may not be doing what you want them to do. But the other part of it, as you indicate, there is indeed a housing crisis in a sense. It's hard to find where you're going to put yourself and your 3 kids. All of that are challenges, right?
Yes.
We can agree on that,
Yes.
right? And so when faced with that, and I dare say this, like with any good mom, you fight. Because sometimes that's what you have to do, right? And as you're fighting, you're trying not to lose sight of really what you have to kind of do.
Right.
And here's what I think you have to do. All right. And I may be wrong. And if I'm wrong, you can tell me I'm wrong. You can't afford to continue to be where you are. You've got to find a place for yourself and your 3 kids that's affordable. That's really where you are. And a lot of what, I'm not saying that anything that you're saying isn't true, but a lot of the reason why you're going at it the way you're trying to go at it is to kind of get yourself time. Because what you want is you want you and your kids to land safely.
Well, with all due respect, I worked to pay that rent for 3 going on 3.5 years, and I was happy to do so. But I don't want to fight for the house anymore. It's not my house. And I'm fighting with a company that's just not doing their job. So you're right. I have a different fight now, and I'm willing to take on a different fight, but it won't be with this company.
What do you want to do, ma'am?
I've decided that I want to move out.
You want to move out? Look, hold it. I'm going to pass this matter. Here's what I need you to think about, okay? If you think by, and maybe it makes some people feel better about yelling at them, saying they don't do anything. And for all I know, ma'am, you may be right. And you may be yelling at them saying they're the worst people in the world. And for all I know, you may be right.
Mm-hmm.
But after you get done saying all of that, still have you and 3 little people that got to be housed.
Right.
So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to pass it. Go have a seat and think about what you need to get you and your kids to land safely. I don't want to order you out in 10 days. I don't want to do that if I don't have to do it. It is much better for everybody involved, landlord as well as the tenant. If you don't want to be there, they probably don't want you there now, that's fine. But to try to find some amicable way of sort of parting your ways. I get that you're angry. I get it. But what I'm just indicating to you is when all of that's said and done, I don't know that it gets you where you want to be.
I agree.
Okay. So I'm going to pass the matter. Think about it a minute. Let me try to take care of some of these other ones and then we'll call you back. Okay? I think I had asked you a question, and where are you on this now?
I have a question.
Sure.
Would that mean that they could still try to collect the $9,000 that I'm speaking of?
Well, their complaint has the possession issue and then the money issue. So
there's 2 issues. So we're talking about possession right now.
well, I was talking about possession because that seemed to me to be at the forefront and the most pressing thing.
Sure. I mean, what's reasonable?
All right. Mr. Finkel, does your client have a position as to when they'd like her?
It seems the cleanest day would be September 30th.
Pardon?
The clean day would be September 30th.
All right. Ma'am, what do you think of that? You think that'll work for you?
I think
You can make it work. All right. So we'd have September 30th. Now, the other issue would be the money. And wait, well, there's a number of ways that can be handled, ma'am. I can set an additional hearing. We can run through everything. Or the parties can try to resolve that monetary issue, or I can set it for trial on the money part.
I would like to have my say on the issue. I would feel better if I at least got to be heard on that issue.
Okay, so you want me to have that proceed toward trial on the money? All right. And why don't we do this? Defendant to vacate premises by September 30, 2024. All right. Then I'll adjourn the monetary issue. Now, I should let you know, ma'am. So after that point, they're going to do an inspection. And so there could be additional amounts added on their claim because of what they may claim to be damages. Okay? You understand that? All right. What do we got? In October.
4th is a Friday.
Yeah, but if we're gonna do a full trial on it or potentially do a trial, I'm probably gonna have to get it Tuesday. So.
We could do October
15th. All right, that may be better. Why don't you look to block the first anyway? October 15th, 2024 at 9 a.m. All right. At that proceeding, ma'am, you will try to do a final settlement conference. I'm going to call that a final settlement conference. See if we can resolve the money issues. If we can't, then it's likely I would set a full-blown trial at a later date. Okay, fair enough.
May I submit an order on the 7-day rule that says that she vacate by the 30th. If she doesn't, we can get a possession judgment and read.
Yes,
first.
On the first.
I'll do that.
Did you understand that, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
And the rent is an escrow.
Since rent that she's posted in escrow and there's the money issue, I'm going to hold that pending resolution of that monetary issue. All right, thank you.